All right, perfect. Okay, we are live. We are a little haphazard here. Let me switch screens. Hold on, Mr. Elbert. I'm going to get you on the camera here. Can you hear us, Mr. Elbert?
Yes, sir, I can.
Excellent, and we can hear you. That's always a good thing. Duke, can you hear Mr. Elbert?
I got Mr. Elbert loud and clear, and I got you loud and clear. So I think what we probably should do is maybe go to the break real quick and let everybody know that, hey, we've got Elbert Guillory, candidate for Congressional District number 6, a newly created district. He's here ready to go. And anyway.
Yeah. Mr. Elbert might get you to turn the volume down just a little bit if you can, but enough where you can obviously hear us. We got about 20 people watching, so everybody, we're like Duke just said, we're going to run to the break real quick, come back, and we will go ahead and get right into the show. So everybody hold on, share it out. We'll be right back.
Knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked. You know, there's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating, so I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
And I titled it A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys.
Just, you know, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
Aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
As a member of the media, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse.
Oh, folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to border. It's actually going to Mexico and buses.
Doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally. That's been interpreted different ways in the court system all the way up to SCOTUS.
We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing, folks.
Through conscious shocking action, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr.
In theory, you know, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. And I'm going to hit the magic button since we have Mr. Elbert Lee Guillory on the line and go ahead and bring him in. What say you, Mr. Lowry?
I think let's do it. Let's get right to it.
All right. Welcome to a Monday special edition of Bossier Watch. How are you this evening?
Very, very well. It's been a fantastic day.
Excellent.
Well, Mr. Elbert, I think probably the first of this year, you didn't realize you was going to be running for Congress again, did you?
That is absolutely correct. It was in July or the end of June when Garrett Graves decided that he was not going to run for this seat, that it became necessary for me to get onto the battlefield once more.
Wasn't there some redistricting that went on with that district? It's District 6, I believe, isn't it?
It is District 6. And it was newly redrawn in January. So a lot of, as a matter of fact, today the Supreme Court said that they would take another look at it in a few weeks, the beginning of next year. It could very well be thrown out but it will stay in existence for the next 2 years. And I hope to be that voice for the next 2 years.
I think you'd be a good voice, so go ahead, Duke.
Yeah, well, Mr. Elbert, I know you've been on our show one time before and a long time ago, and you probably remember Rex from that. But I also remember, you still there, Mr. Elbert?
There we go.
I also remember you when you ran for Congressional District 4 when Dr. Fleming, I think, had stepped down and had run a good campaign during that time.
Yes, I've been around for quite a while. Actually, since 1968, I've been involved in politics. Not in Louisiana politics, but I was on the East Coast at the time and became very much involved in other people's races.
Yeah, I've seen you around the conservative Republican limited government circles all over the state of Louisiana. It seems like Elbert Guillory has been a fixture on trying to affect good government. And you know, I was happy. I remember in the early stages of this thing, different people were talking about different candidates potentially, and in every discussion that was had, Elbert Guillory's name continued to keep popping up, coming up. Elbert Guillory needs to run. Elbert Guillory needs to run. So I was delighted to hear you jump in.
I really appreciate that. You know, I'm very prepared. I'm a former Rutgers law professor. I'm a graduate of Rutgers Law School, been practicing law for 55 years. I ran unit state agencies in 5 different states um, before I came back to Louisiana. Former state senator, former state representative. I have done it. I know how to do it. I've done it well, and I will do it well in Washington, D.C. once more.
Now, Mr. Elbert, for those of us that are those folks that are watching that may not be familiar with you or know you too well, why don't you, if you don't mind, kind of go over your history? Because if memory serves me correctly, you were uh, ran for a congressional seat down in Baton Rouge and won that, and then were you a state senator as well?
I was a state senator as well.
Okay.
As a
All
matter
right.
of fact, I passed the Louisiana Reentry Act the first year that I was in the Louisiana legislature. It passed unanimously without one single negative vote in the Senate, without one single negative vote in the House. Um, it it was so good that they put me into the um, Louisiana Justice Hall of Fame, and I was Legislator of the Year that year in my first year.
Wow. So you've been at this quite a while. What was that? Louisiana Reentry Act all about? What's the history or story on that?
Well, we were having a very high recidivism rate. People were getting into trouble, coming into prison, getting out, coming right back into prison. So we made it available, made available to people who were incarcerated academic education, skills education, certifications like with plumbing or working with working offshore. I mean, just all kinds of skills that one could get a certification in. When all of that was done, they would get work release. The prison would take them to find a job for them, take them to that job in the morning, pick them up in the evening, and the person who's incarcerated could help pay for their incarceration, help send money back home to mama, take care of their child support. And when they would get out, they'd have a certification, they'd have a year of experience, and no reason whatsoever to get back in trouble. It has cut Louisiana's recidivism rate very significantly.
Yeah, of course, I hate to right off the bat bring up the national politics, but as you well know, there's a pretty important election tomorrow, and one of the knocks on Kamala Harris is as a former um, attorney general for California, former district attorney around the San Francisco area, and all that. She helped put a lot of folks in jail and in prison, and it just seems to me like when you contrast that towards Trump enacting or helping enact some of the legislation to help with the incarcerated folks after when his first term in office, it's interesting to me the dynamic, and maybe you can touch on this as a Republican. Um, why folks keep voting for the Democratic platform? It just seems to me like you know they just want to put them in jail and keep them in there.
It's a very sad thing. It's difficult to find out what Miss Kamala is really interested in doing. She doesn't seem to have a foundation, a base for her positions. One time, she'll grab everyone that she can, round them up, and put them in jail. Another time, people are burning streets down, burning cities down, and she's taking money out of her own pocket to bond them out and let them go free. So it's just hard to understand what where she's coming from, as the young people say.
Well,
Well,
how? Go ahead, Dick.
yeah, I mean, and you you have saw how Louisiana and how our legislature, in our last governor, I mean, we released a lot of folks early, and now we see that those facilities where a lot of those folks were released from were turned into ICE detainee facilities, where we had all these illegal immigrants who were caught, brought, and put in. And then what a lot of people don't realize is that all they're doing is processing them, then turning around and just dumping them by the bus loads at our local airports, to where they may or may not get on a plane, but a lot of them just walk out the door into the middle of our community. So my question to you is in that vein, when you get to Washington, D.C., I suspect you would agree with the majority of people. We don't like the idea of these folks being just dumped off in our communities, and we don't have a clue who they are, and that they broke the
I,
law to come here in the first place.
I think that there are two solutions to the problems that you mentioned. The first solution is to shut the border, the southern border, to close it as tightly as a drum, and only let people come in a legal, orderly fashion after they are properly vetted and thoroughly investigated. The second solution is for the state of Louisiana to say to the Kuyons in Washington, D.C., not one more will we take. Not one more will come into the state of Louisiana. We must protect our people.
I can't disagree with that. Um, the last time we had you on, which was about 2 years ago, so it's been a while, but um, we were talking a lot about the strengthening of the families, or rather, I guess I hate to say it, but the degradation of the family unit in both the white and the black community, and I would assume other minorities as well. In the so the question for me is, in the 2 years that since then, do things seem to have gotten better? And once you're in Washington, what can you do as a congressman to try to strengthen the family unit? Because I think a lot of the problems we have is the degradation of the family unit still.
Absolutely. There are several things that we'll be able to do. some financial things that will support keeping families together. But one of the things that we absolutely must do is to bring daddies back into homes. Now, there are a lot of people, 70% of black kids are born into families without a daddy. 50% of white kids are born into families without a daddy. So a lot of those kids get into difficulty at school. The officials, the government needs to bring that daddy back to that school and say, look, little Johnny, your little Johnny that you left here, you brought him here into this world, is misbehaving, and we're going to hold you responsible, sir. Same thing in the juvenile justice system. If this kid, this teenager is really acting out, get daddy, bring daddy in. If daddy needs to go to jail too, do that. And after you do that enough, daddies are going to understand what is responsible, what they are responsible for, what standard they're being held to. And I think that you find daddies much more willing to be daddies and not just sperm donors.
Well, there you go. And to tie into Duke's question about the immigration, one of the interesting points is, or to me, is that the family unit of the Hispanics that are coming in illegally or and legally in some cases, as well as a lot of the other nationalities, seem to be much stronger family units than we tend to have here in the country on both the black and the, like you mentioned, you know, the white side too, fit with 50% on the white side too. And I think, or I don't think that a lot of people have realized yet how that's going to change the dynamic of the voting block and of our country too. When you've got, you know, immigrants coming in, many illegally, but they have a much stronger family unit, and I hate to say it, but in a lot of cases, maybe even a stronger work ethic. How that's going to change the dynamic of the voting blocks around here.
It really is. Bringing those different values into our communities is really going to, it's going to upset the apple cart in many ways, and not all negatively either.
You know, I had an opportunity to work. It's been some years ago with a lot of different from Hondurans to true Mexicans to some of those folks down there, and overwhelmingly, there's a lot of folks there. They would prefer that their country have order and no chaos and all that. I jokingly said to some of them, they said they talked about their country. They said, we don't have law and order. We don't have that, And I said, you mean your federales won't take care of things? Like, no, no, no. And I said, well, maybe just Mexico becomes a state of the United States. And they were all like, oh yeah, 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 we would love that because we would come in and then have law, and they were all in favor of that, which I found amazing. A lot of them want to come here because we do have a civilized society and we do have law and order. But if we let people come illegally without respecting our laws, I mean, we're eroding that. And yeah, I have no doubts where you would be, Mr. Guillory, on that. But if there's anything you want to say to that, go ahead.
Totally in agreement with your position, actually. Totally.
Well, I
It
want
would be
to.
good to take some leadership role in Central and South America.
So
Yeah.
I want to take us in a little bit of a different direction, if you don't mind, for a few minutes, because we didn't really do this the last time we interviewed you, I don't think. But you've got a long history in both law and, of course, and in government as well, and doing many things, but also in the civil rights movement. And I was watching one of your videos and reading up on your website where, you were talking about basically assault on you back in the civil rights era days and all that. Could you share a little bit of that history and what it was like then? And I would assume that was, 50s, 60s era or whenever it was, but could you share a little bit of that and what it was like then versus what it's like now and your transformation, I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, from Democrat to Republican in years past?
When I was 15, I did my family's taxes, and I was aware of my family's military history. My dad was a combat veteran from World War One. My brother, World War Two. My best first cousin, Korea. And I thought, now, if we're fighting these wars for America and paying the taxes just like everyone else, then there should not be a rule that says I have to go around the back door of the courthouse, or that I must go to the back door of restaurants, or that I can't go into the public library and get a book. So at the age of 15, I went into the public library to get a book, and I fully expected to be arrested, and I was arrested, and that was a big transformation for me because of my involvement in the civil rights struggle and the number of arrests and contacts, interactions that I had with police. I decided not to go to medical school, which was what I intended to do, but to pursue a career in government and law. And it has worked out well. I'm a warrior for justice, a, a warrior to assist America in living up to its promise of justice, equality, freedom, and opportunity for all. And it has absolutely worked.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me to hear, some of these stories because, I can't recall that I've ever been in a situation, where just going to a library or anything like that would have been a problem. As a matter of fact, Duke and I were talking about before the show about going to some of these, uh, election night parties of some of these politicians. And, well, we don't get invites to all those these days, but we're not worried about that. But it's different with the civil rights struggle. So I always enjoy hearing some of that history and how far you've come, and like you said, it changed your potentially the course of your life from being a doctor or whatever, possibly into law and the legal side and helping people that way.
Incidentally, I will tell you that I was, when I was 16, I was a freshman at Southern University. When I was
Wow.
17, I became the youngest editor in chief of the Southern University newspaper. And I was continuing to write this stuff like, if I pay your taxes and fight your wars, I want to be a full-blooded American. And so I was expelled, of course, at 18. And that gave me an opportunity to get world-class education, having been accepted at Harvard's law school with a full scholarship and several of the nation's top law schools. Gave me an opportunity to become a Navy veteran. So it didn't feel like it on the day that I was escorted off campus at gunpoint. It didn't feel like a bright day, but the Lord was opening a big day for me and a big door for me, and it has worked out very well for me.
Excellent.
So, Mr. Elbert, um, if you're successful and you get this seat, regardless, right out of the gate, um, you're going to have probably a wild ride to start off with. Depending on who's going to be the president, and either way, whether Kamala won or whether it's Donald Trump, either way, I suspect Washington D.C. is going to be a basket case for the next couple of years. Are you ready to keep up that pace? And I feel like it's either you're going to be getting on the bandwagon with the pom poms, or you're going to be getting on the bandwagon with brass knuckles, ready to fight, one way or the other. But what is your thoughts on how it's going to go?
Brass knuckles. There are so many crazy positions that these politicians are adopting in Washington, D.C. I mean, the federal spending that sends all of our money to foreign countries while we can't take care of our own roads, bridges, our poor, and our hungry. Just immigration, education, crime, the economy, the spending that draws up the cost of living, all of those things. I'm going to be standing there fighting against all of that craziness, and I'm ready to go. I know how to, and I'm a fighter.
Has it been your sense since you've been campaigning across this newly designed district? I mean, and it stretches, all the way up here to Shreveport and all the way down to Baton Rouge. It's kind of carved out through there, so you've got a very diverse, different group of people, geographically. Is it your sense, or what is your sense from talking to people across all of the district? Is their biggest complaints illegal immigration? Is it the taxes? Is it inflation? And just what everybody's bottom line is from day to day, the cost to live. What's the biggest thing that you hear?
The biggest thing that I hear is the problem of the economy. It's squeezing working class people out of work, out of the working class, making them poor again. Squeezing poor people, squeezing the elderly. I mean, it is so sad to sit down and talk with people who are 65 and older, and the impact that this insane economy is having on them. This war against oil and gas has driven up transportation costs, which of course has driven up food costs, gasoline costs, electricity costs, and we're in danger of losing 346,000 good paying jobs that support American families, while they're trying to force me to drive an electric vehicle. And I have electric panels on my office building and on my home. So I'm ready to do things that will help protect America. But you can't force it down America's throats. You have to let us take it one step at a time. And by trying to force the Green New Deal upon America, it's harming us. So that's the kind of thing that
Uh-oh. Let's see if he comes back. He might have to go feed a couple of squirrels. There we go. Got the connection back.
they'll probably chase me out of Washington, D.C. before very long.
Well, yeah, because you say what you think. That's what I've learned about you and known about you for all these years is you don't hold back. You say it like it is, whether they like it or not. And I appreciate and respect that. I mean, I know Rex does as well too.
Thank you. I'm a straight up old country boy. I'm going to tell you the truth 100% of the time. I'm not going to lie because I believe in God and I believe He's listening to what I'm saying. So I'm just going to be straight. And being straight is a very costly thing in today's society.
Yeah, that it definitely can be. So tomorrow, let's see, you're on the ballot in your district and all that, and your area tomorrow. Tomorrow is the big election day.
You got any predictions on how it's going to go between Trump and Mrs. Harris?
My prediction is that Donald Trump is going to win by a small margin, and that election is going to be hotly contested in the courts and in the administrative agencies for the next 2 months.
Yeah, pretty much a
Yeah,
turnabout's fair play when the Democrats and the liberals when they're on the winning side of it. Oh no, it's bad if you try to do checks and balances through the courts, but if they're on the other side of it, I have a feeling that they're going to be whining and crying too.
so
Totally correct.
so Mr. Elbert, so the parts of, our audience is generally a Northwest Louisiana audience, and what parts of Northwest Louisiana? I mean, I know it's part of Shreveport. Does it duck down into DeSoto Parish? I mean, I know it cuts across there. Which kind of general areas, are the people that would be voting for you up here in Northwest Louisiana?
We have a substantial DeSoto Parish voting number. Natchitoches, we will pick up a lot of the voting population in Natchitoches Parish, and we reach down into the Pineville and part of Alexandria in Rapides Parish. So there'll be a lot of folks up in North Louisiana who will see a whole lot of me, and who have seen a whole lot of me because I'm up there very, very frequently, a couple of times a week. I've put more than 10,000 miles on my truck and my car, trying to talk with people, and a lot of miles on my knees, incidentally. Fortunately, I have two brand new knees. The Lord made sure I got them in February and April, so they're working out just fine.
just in time. You're going to need them.
Good deal. Well, if any of y'all watching, that's right. If any of y'all watching, if you've got friends or family in Natchitoches Parish and DeSoto and any of this district, uh, you know, I think you should highly consider voting for Mr. Guillory. His opponent is, I'm going to say, a liberal Democrat. And, if you believe in big government and unchecked spending, that's probably who you want to vote for. But if you want limited government and a tried and true conservative, and he's proven it through his actions for decades, I mean, it's this guy right here, Elbert Guillory. And I personally will vouch for. I've seen this guy at so many, conservative Republican events over the years. I mean, Rex, we remember the debate for Congressional District 4. I didn't, a lot of people think and Mr. Guillory, we call Mike Johnson walk on water on the show, but everybody has this thought that walk on water is the most conservative guy out there. I'm sorry. Elbert Guillory, I thought that day was more conservative than walk on water.
I truly am extremely conservative. I'm rock solid conservative. The values that I embrace, hard work, education, God, those are the things I was brought up with down in the country in Louisiana, in central Louisiana, South Louisiana. So I'm not going to change, but you can count on me to be exactly what I am and to stay what I am. So many of those guys go up there and they tell you all of this rhetoric about being a conservative, and they get up there and you find out you have a rhino. Not with Elbert Guillory.
I think you are the same the first time I met you many years ago, and your positions hadn't changed. And if I could vote for you, I would.
I appreciate that very much. I appreciate being able to talk with you guys once more. We're going to have a little thing in Pineville tomorrow night at the Willow Bench on Main Street, the 600 block of Main Street in Pineville. Come by and meet some of my folks, my family, and my team.
Well, we might have to do that.
Well, unfortunately, I have a date with the Bossier Parish election supervisor's role, so I I'm going to kind of be behind the curtain and not be able to know anything that's happening. I'll be sequestered, but I appreciate the invitation and I would love to have came. I really would.
Duke, you know, you just disappointed me when you said, I have a date. I mean, I had these images in my mind, and then when you finished, and it was so disappointing.
Look, I tell people all the time on this show, and they'll tell you Duke acknowledges he is a Rhodes Scholar of Stupidville, so it's no secret.
All right.
Looking
Well,
forward to having when I get up there.
absolutely. Well, we appreciate you coming on this evening and chatting with us for at least a few minutes, and we'll look forward to having you back on in a couple of weeks and have a victory show with you. How about that?
I appreciate it, and I'm committing myself to that. Just right tonight, I'm making that commitment.
All right, we'll hold you to it. All right, Mr.
Good,
Lowry, anything else?
good luck, Mr. Guillory, and we're going to say a prayer for you, my brother.
Absolutely.
Please do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Well, I always enjoy the conversation with Mr. Guillory. He is a good guy.
Oh, he is the best. I wish we would have sent him to DC way before now. I mean, I think he still will do a good job now. I would have loved for him to have been there even at a younger age. I wish he would have been there because I think he would have been a firecracker back in his younger days.
Oh, yeah, I think so. No doubt about that. And I went back and listened to that other show when we had him on, and I may post a link to that later on Facebook or something. But just going through, we went through a lot of the racial stuff, a couple of years ago, and like I told him, I just enjoy hearing that from somebody that's got as good a heart as he does. As a hardworking guy, like you said, he's about as conservative as it absolutely gets, and just a good guy to talk to.
Yeah. So
I noticed what's your dress and attire? Are you trying to make a statement there or something about trash, or does your wife need to take the trash out? What's the deal?
Well, no, I'm just filling the role.
Oh, well.
Biden said, all those mega people are trash. And so I'm wearing my trash bag. And when I go vote tomorrow, probably with my wife, we're probably both going to wear trash bags when we go vote.
Yeah. Well, I think she said, is she going to wear the white trash bag? Is she going to be the white trash, or what's the deal?
Oh, she's definitely wearing white trash bag. Yeah, she's definitely white trash. No doubt about it.
I wonder who y'all are going to vote for.
I have no idea. But I'm thinking, I don't know. I just no subliminal messages here.
Well, and look, so
whatsoever.
Here's the deal. So obviously tomorrow is election night. I think pretty much everybody on the planet knows that. You're going to be sequestered up at the Board of Election Supervisor gig up there in Benton. I may show up there. And by the way, just so everybody knows, that is a public meeting. So as the public, if you want to spend election night up there at the courthouse watching all that transpire, You're absolutely free to do so. So I guess we're not going to be able to have Bossier Watch tomorrow night because at 7 o'clock, we're going to hopefully be close to knowing or started the process of knowing who the next president's going to be.
Right. So, hey, just getting into the election spirit, I've got a couple of memes in the notes ready to go for people. We got to get people warmed up. And hey, additionally, I wanted to say there is a lot going on in the country. We talked about, and might need to show it again, but you remember when we stuffed a ballot?
Yes, I
Remember
remember when we allegedly almost kind of sort of stuffed the ballot on, live streaming.
No, it was a real ballot. It was a real election ballot. We were able to open the ballot.
Well, hold on though.
were
Wait a
able,
minute. You got to clarify. Now, we didn't go steal said ballot from
No,
somebody's
we did not.
mailbox or anything. Okay. Got to put the disclaimer in there,
Nope, we did not steal a ballot, but it was a real, true, legit ballot that they would mail to you if you were getting a mail ballot. And we proved that you can open a sealed ballot, replace the ballot with whatever you wanted to replace it with, seal it back up, and you could have sent it on its way. We proved that you could do that.
Yeah. Well, I
Now,
need to go back and
I
dig and
say
find
all
that
that.
show.
I say all that because everybody was all saying, oh, there wasn't no fraud. Trump's just a sore loser, blah, 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 this and that or whatever. Well, Jolly gee Willikers, what is going on in all of these cases across the country right now? I mean, you got in the Georgia Supreme Court ruled that those 3 counties, ruling just came out today, the 3 counties that just arbitrarily decided to increase the number of days for early voters across 3 days across the weekends. They ruled that all those votes can't be counted. That was unconstitutional. And Maricopa County, 90,000 on the last day of early votes, 90,000 ballots turned in, right? Of those 90,000, 40,000 they identified to have problems. I mean, and some of the problems, for example, was one of them was registering Donald Duck, and the other one was, I think, Mickey Mouse. They were trying to register them. And Maricopa this time decided not to count those votes. Can you imagine that? 40,000 of them.
They just keep making this up as they go along. Look, I got to say this. I've been listening to, of course, Trump spill about, this 30 and 60 days of voting has got to end. I actually do agree with that. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I'm going to vote for Trump. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but I think I agree. I mean, it's like an endless stream of voting for 2 months. It's getting nuts. And that gives them more time, on the right or the left to change the rules.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because there was another Supreme Court ruling out of another state where they said that any votes that were not received in any way, shape, form, or fashion on election day tomorrow after that couldn't be accepted and couldn't be counted. And I think it might have been in Georgia as well, because as you remember, Georgia flipped when we all went to sleep. Donald Trump was up by however many tens or hundreds of thousands, whatever it was. And then when we all woke up, arbitrarily, here's all these ballots that just come in, and they ended up coming in for almost a week till, Joe Biden was winning Georgia. Not going to happen this time. So all these little different things are it's being proved that there is fraud. So all these people saying that, oh, that's bullcrap, there's no fraud. I'm sorry, y'all. another myth proven. Anyway.
Yeah. So I just go back to the only way to solve that is we've got to realize that they are breeding faster than we are and producing voters. And so if he just wins in a landslide,
by an electoral college landslide, then it won't matter. That's the only way to beat them at that game, my opinion. But anyway, so what's this that what are these videos that we want to take a look at here?
Well, since we're talking about all of this fraud, and you know how they got all this drop boxes and stuff,
Right.
Oh, well,
Oh, shall I show you got
yeah, let's
fire
share my
with yours.
screen. And
hold on. Yeah, you got fire with yours. That's always better.
Oh, yeah. We actually got video of some of the fraud, and this is one of these drop boxes that they got the video, but y'all got to watch this video for yourself. I mean, have y'all seen this? Have you seen this?
I have not seen this yet.
Okay, here you go.
What the hell?
Who is that? They're smoking a crack pipe. Wait a minute. I think I know who it is. I'm not going to say his name because that'll definitely get us banned. But.
Right. So I did hear about this. This is the first time I've seen this, especially that video. So what was the deal? Somebody set one of these ballot boxes on fire?
No. It wasn't one. There were countless ballot boxes that were set on fire. And the majority of them, I think, were maybe in Oregon, Washington State, or somewhere up there. But
look, that's crazy. And as if you believe the polls at all, as tight as this race is, I mean, a few hundred votes there, a few hundred votes here, a few more hundred there, a few more set on fire there. That stuff starts to add up.
Well, until we get to more transparency, and this is what enrages me about our election stuff. And even in the Republican circles, I'll probably be more critical of Republicans here than I am of Democrats. So you got machines, and a lot of people want to continue to keep having these machines, and they say, oh, secured paper ballot or voter verified paper trail or what have you, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Well, if the paper out of these machines shoots you out a barcode, and the barcode you can't read it, but it takes a computer to read it. And so what if you go scan it and it says this is how you vote? How do you know what it actually recorded in the machine?
Well, look,
there's no way you can know that.
Look, you and I we differ a little bit on this, but we completely agree on that. And when you hear and look, our registrar of voters, Stephanie, and our clerk of court, Jill, and all the girls up there in the office, you'll be there firsthand tomorrow. They run a very tight ship, and they do a great job. But we got into this discussion one time because the only way that we can audit those machines that we're running with our voting now is, like you said, it's a paper spit out. You have, as a member of the Board of Election Supervisors, you are going to sign your name on several of those little printout tickets tomorrow night and verify that that's what happened, but you really have no way of verifying it. To be honest, the only way to do it is you get rid of the secret ballot. It's the only way.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. And let me tell you how to do it. And everybody follow me here, because I want y'all to pay attention to this, because I've had some Republicans tell me, this is what they say. They say, well, we can't change the way we vote from these machines because the people's not ready for it. Y'all aren't ready for it. Y'all can't comprehend it. So let me spill this out here. Here's the solution. Don't we want transparency in our election? Right? That's what we want. Well, that's what we all agree we want. We want transparency. We want an honest, fair election.
Right.
So if Rex, you fill out a ballot and you hand mark the paper ballot, if I fill out the ballot and I hand mark it, and then if Kara, and then if your wife, and then Stephanie Agee, Jill Sessions, and everybody else, if everybody fills out their ballot with a mark, they mark it, they're all put into a pile. And those ballots, as they were scanned, they're also scanned and posted up on the internet. So then Duke, being the loser by one vote, says, I feel like I got cheated by one vote. You know what I can do? I can go and look at every stinking ballot that was ran through that scanner, and I can count them all myself. I won't know who voted which one, whether it was you, whether it was me. I don't know who voted all those. But what I do know is what ballots were ran through the machine, what ballots had, security, meaning that if you went to the election polls, the election workers were tasked with taking possession of them, retaining possession of them, all the way to the time that they were counted and scanned. And it's transparent right there. It's that easy. And don't tell me it can't be done. You're the tech guy. How easy would it be to scan 26? Let's just use a number. Let's throw it out here. 26,000. In that, I think that's approximately the number of voters in Bossier Parish. 27,000 votes. And I mean, they're posted up on some government website to where if you want to go back and check them, you can go back and check them.
Yeah, but you know what? It takes to make the scanner work and the website.
What does it take?
Software.
But the image, are you going to change the image if they're taken in such a resolution that you can't? I mean, you can tell the fibers of the paper.
Literally takes software to write all that, dude. That's the point I'm getting.
I know that it takes software,
but and hear me, I'm not disagreeing with you because it needs to be changed, but that literally takes software to do all of that. And so at some point you have to trust the software, which is counterintuitive to what everybody's griping about now, with good reason, not trusting the software, not necessarily trusting Dominion, but who are you going to trust unless you go to open source code?
Okay. So now I don't trust the software that I just articulated in the process I just articulated. So I want to go to the courthouse or go to the Secretary of State, and I want to count all the ballots myself. I want to see the paper and I want to count them. Guess what? We've got real paper that was marked on by a human, and we can count it if we want. And we can pay to have it audited. The campaign, the person,
that I agree
whatever.
with. As long as they don't put them in a mailbox.
We can still do it. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, what is this one? This one here you got? I see this one up right here. This was a pretty good one.
Yeah, let's see what this one's about. Here we go.
Anything for like all the illegals
I think
and
we
stuff.
have to be fair.
Guys, this is great. I think we found a new home for you guys.
What guys?
There you go.
Is that your bus?
Yeah.
I don't understand what this is all about.
The immigration. They're gonna move into your house.
They are not.
What do you mean? You just said you wanted to support everyone though.
Okay, that I don't.
No, they're
Guys,
not violent. They're not violent. They're good. They're
hop it, just like you guys did before.
Thank you very much.
Can they stay for dinner? Wait. Well, we have your signature. You guys got to drive back down south.
Back to Home Depot.
So you would do
back to Home Depot. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, this one's good too. This one's good too.
All right, here we go.
Dressed up like I work for Kamala's campaign, and now I'm gonna deliver immigrants to her supporters.
We are voting for you, don't worry.
Are you?
Of course.
We do have a surprise, if that's okay, just real fast.
You have a surprise?
We're looking for a place for them to stay. They just came across. They'll sleep on floors. I mean, they're not picky, you know.
We have like a 2-year-old, so
Hector's good with kids.
Sorry, we just can't.
Could they just
like sleep on your lawn?
They need a place to stay. They just came across.
My teenagers live with me.
Oh, that's fine. Hector, he was dating a teenager like a little bit ago, so
Okay.
they just came across. They don't have papers. You're in support of like the whole border situation, and we're just trying to get them a floor to sleep on. Do you guys want COVID? They said they could survive it.
We work with her, so we know how to say her name.
Earlier you said Kamala. The way she pronounces her name is Kamala. You don't work with her either.
See that car? We have 3 dudes who just came across the border. We're trying to find them a home.
Find them a home.
Just say I'm voting for Donald Trump without saying it, okay?
That's a wrong attitude, mister. I said my vote is private.
So you're voting Kamala.
No, you said it again.
That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good.
Oh, that was a good one. One more. We got to do another.
All right.
Come on.
Which one? Hold on.
I don't know the next one.
Okay, hold on a second. Oh, I didn't see you stuck another one in there. Hold on.
I was having too much fun this afternoon.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so which one do you want me to do?
Well, the next one there. You got your cursor on it.
Okay, hold on. Hold on just a minute. All right, let's see. That's
funny. You just look, guys. It's election season. You just got to laugh at some of this stuff. I mean,
yeah. All right, here we go. Oh wait, audio.
See, she's wearing a trend. No.
All right, here we go.
That's it. Well, that's the point. When you go vote tomorrow, you need to wear your trash bag.
Yeah, or at least show up in an orange vest to signify.
Or an orange vest. Yeah.
I should have worn my orange vest tonight on the show. I didn't even think about it. Dadgummit. You know, when he got in that dadgum garbage truck, and look, it was a setup deal. You know, they got the garbage truck together, got the signs put on and all that. But when he climbed up in that garbage truck, I was thinking there's no way in hell Biden could have climbed up in that garbage truck and then turned around and do a press interview.
Yeah, no way. Absolutely no way. Neither Kamala either.
Yeah.
All right, either. One more meme, and then we'll call it a night.
All right. The next one after that one. Is that the one you want?
Now, this is a good one. This one isn't poking fun at Democrats.
Oh,
we probably lost viewers tonight, but that's okay.
That's okay. It's it's our show. We can do it if we want to. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me switch screens. We're kind of winging it, folks. If you hadn't noticed. All right, here we go.
Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. I am your retribution. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. I am your retribution. I am. Your retribution. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. I am your retribution. Retribution. I am your retribution. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. I have to do what I have to do. I have to do the right thing. I have to do what I have to do. I have to do the right thing. I have to do the right thing. Better hope I don't win. I have to do what I have to do. I have to do the right thing. I have to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. I have to do what I have to do. I have to do the right thing. Better hope I don't win. Better hope I don't win. I have to do what I have to do. I have to do the right thing.
You know,
kind of reminds me of the Apple Mac ad from back in the day when they smashed through the PC deal. But anyway.
You know, the thing about that is, in the retribution, you know, to me, everything that we've been through over the last, I mean, think about this. It's over 8 years. COVID, you know, we now learn it, you know, came from a lab in China. And was it the Chinese? No, you know, kind of as it turns out, it had links to America with Fauci, you know, and that was all black helicopters. What about Russia collusion? You know, well, guess what? We found out, that wasn't exactly right. And it had links to our spy agency, our government. Everything that we've went through, all of this stuff has all been because of our government. And, you know, even today, and the same thing with the 2020 election. What is it? The federal agency that's supposed to make sure that our elections are secure and that there's no fraud and that the machines are secure and all that crap or whatever. They're right at the heart of all of it. At the end of the day, history is going to show, and you can mark my words, history is going to show that everything we've went through, Hunter's laptop, everything is going to show that it was our government that had their hands in everything.
Oh yeah. Well, and look, the math doesn't lie. And when you look at the percentage of Americans who trust the government, it's at an all-time low and still sinking fast. The problem is not us.
Yeah,
The problem is the government.
that's right. That's right. The
So,
and I think that I don't know. Hey, so let's see here. Let me see if I can show something.
yep, up right there. All right, what are we looking at here? Oh, is that a ballot?
That is my daughter with her mail-in ballot that I guess she's fixing to drop in the mail.
Oh. Yeah, she needs help.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Well, looks
Yeah,
like I've got work to do.
All right. Well, look, we'll go ahead and end the show tonight. We just wanted to go ahead and do a Monday night show. Mr. Elbert asked if he could come on, and we always enjoy the conversation with him and wish him good luck in his election tomorrow evening. Make sure, if you're listening, I know all of our listeners and watchers have already done it. Either have already early voted or are going to the polls tomorrow. Grab a friend, grab a relative, drag everybody to the polls. Every vote really does truly count, even though we're all going to vote for Trump around here. We understand that, but make your voice heard. And we'll see you on the other side.
See you next time. Have a good evening, folks.
We're out of here. We'll be back either later this week or next Tuesday. We'll figure it out and let all y'all know.